So sometimes whenever we're doing this whole fragrance thing, one of the things to understand is that you sometimes have to strike when the iron is hot. And what I mean by that is you have to seize the opportunity, especially to try to get a good fragrance whenever you can get your hands on it, because you never know whenever it's either going to be out of stock, when it's going to be sold out, or in the case of today's fragrance, it's going to be discontinued. So the fragrance I'm talking about today is a fragrance that really had probably one of the fastest rises, and then it went discontinued and it stopped being sold, stopped being produced. I remember when it came out in 2021, my brother went out and bought it from Macy's, and he bought it like almost the third day it came out. He brought it home and I loved it, honestly. I was like, okay, I'll get it and I'll just wait for it to hit a discounter, and then not even within 3 months, the fragrance was discontinued. You couldn't buy it off of YSL, you couldn't buy it off of Macy's dealers. I mean, it had been completely, wiped off of all discounted, and it just been discontinued. Couldn't find it anywhere. And recently, last weekend I was out and I went to my fragrance store that I go to, and I was like, oh yeah, I want to get this fragrance in oil, because they had it in oil. And the guy who was working there was like, do you not just want it in a full bottle? And I thought he was joking, honestly. I was like, oh, you probably are just thinking about like another flanker of it, because the fragrance is discontinued. He's like, no, I have the bottle, and he showed it to me, and sure enough, it was the actual thing. So today's fragrance is YSL Bleu Electrique. And so for those of us, most of us know of YSL La Nuit de l'Homme, the EDT version, the famous gold and brown bottle, but they came out with this Bleu Electrique in 2021, and I remember when it hit, every fragrance kind of reviewer had talked about it. Every person who got their hands on it talked about it and loved it, and I was surely finna get it. That was gonna be one of the top ones for 2021, because that was really when I had started building my collection at the time. And literally I was about to go get it from Macy's. I was like, yeah, I'll just bite the bullet and pay the full money. I went to Macy's and they were like, oh yeah, it's been discontinued. And it's one of those things you have to seize the moment whenever you have it. But 3 years later, I'm able to get the actual bottle. I'm able to get my full hands on it. So we're about to do our smell test and see if it still was worth the hype all these years later. So got our tester strip. We're gonna get our Fragrantica says cardamom, ginger, bergamot, lavender, geranium, and cedar, and vetiver. So basically take a line with alone and add a little bit more fruity, fresh components, a little bit more lavender to it, and definitely, hey, it's still fantastic. This is already, I can tell, gonna be in my top 5 in my collection, just because the DNA is one of those really fresh, but still has that spiciness from that cardamom, and still has that aromatic touch and that flair. And this one seems like it's also projection. It's gonna sit on the body longer. See, the old La Nuit de l'Homme, the problem with that one was, while it was really good, it did not have very good lasting power. This one already, you can tell the projection is much better. So nonetheless, this is a win. It's probably one of the stills I've ever had as far as being able to get my hands on this. This is rarefied, fragrance now. So I'm loving it. I'm gonna love it. I'm gonna wear it out and see if I'm gonna get the same compliment factor as when it first came out. But that'll do it for today. So the lesson is seize the opportunity, get it while you can, because you never know when things are gonna be discontinued. And with that, we'll come back with you guys on the next one. We'll see you next time.